Hello everyone, thanks for tuning to our latest Star Wars video. So we're going to be talking about Benioff and Weiss for today's Star Wars video. I've got news on them. They have sealed a deal with Netflix, and I'll go over the deal that they have struck with Netflix. But it does raise questions about Star Wars, because of course we know the next slated trilogy of films for Star Wars is supposed to be coming from Benioff and Weiss. But this deal that they have made with Netflix, to me, raises questions about what's going to happen down the line with Benioff and Weiss and Star Wars. So I'll go over it in a moment. We're at digitaltrends.com, and we'll go over the piece, and then I'll add my 2 pennies after that. Just say that if you're enjoying the Star Wars content on the channel, which we don't produce enough, I'm aware of that, but I'm very busy doing my day job, which is weather videos. But if you are enjoying the Star Wars content that we do upload once or twice a week perhaps, then please like, share and subscribe, and let us know in the comments that you're enjoying what we're doing. Right then, so we're at, as I say, digitaltrends.com, and this piece has been written by Chris Gates. So the headline is Netflix locks down the Game of Thrones showrunners, but what about Star Wars? What indeed? So they're saying the Game of Thrones showrunners have a new home. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, who guided HBO's hit fantasy series from its first episode all the way through to its controversial finale, have signed a 9-figure deal with Netflix that will see the duo develop both TV series and feature-length films for the streaming service. Netflix landed Benioff and Weiss after a 3-month bidding war against 5 other companies, including Disney, HBO and Amazon. Deadline reports. The exact amount of money involved isn't known, but it's allegedly on a par with deals signed by a pair of other superstar creators, Ryan Murphy and Shonda Rhimes. The Netflix deal seems to be the final nail in the coffin for Confederate, Benioff and Weiss' long gestating HBO series set in an alternate reality where the South won the Civil War and slavery never ended. It's less clear what this means for Benioff and Weiss' mysterious Star Wars project, which is expected to arrive in 2022. Earlier this year, Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed that Star Wars would be taking a brief hiatus from the big screen after Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, which premieres in theatres on December 20th, 2019. In the meantime, fans will be able to visit their favourite far, far away galaxy via live action series like The Mandalorian and currently untitled Rogue One spin-off, which will both air on the upcoming Disney Plus streaming service. There's a little bit more. The Benioff and Weiss film will reportedly kick off a new Star Wars trilogy and will supposedly be set during the Star Wars Old Republic era. This is different from any other Star Wars trilogy currently being developed. This is different from the other Star Wars trilogy currently being developed by Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson. According to Deadline, Benioff and Weiss are still according to Dateline, Benioff and Weiss still plan to work on Star Wars in addition to previously announced projects for Universal and Fox. However, it remains to be seen whether or not Benioff and Weiss will have the time to do it all. It's also not clear how receptive fans will be to Benioff and Weiss projects. While Game of Thrones was one of the hottest shows on TV for its entire run, the final season, particularly the final 2 episodes, were poorly received. That over 1 million viewers signed a petition asking HBO to do it over. Still, Benioff and Weiss must have done something right. Despite the controversy, Game of Thrones' 8th season scored 32 Emmy nominations, setting a record for the most nominations for a show in a single series. Right, so they've struck this huge deal with Netflix, and the question is, obviously for this amount of money that they're going to be paid by Netflix, they're going to have to come up with a lot of work. And it says they're going to be doing both TV movies for Netflix, they're going to be doing films, feature-length projects for Netflix, as well as TV series. Now, will they be able to do that and also produce a trilogy of films for Star Wars? That's the question. And I've a little bit doubtful that they are going to be able to do both Star Wars and the projects that they're going to have to do for Netflix. So I'm getting a horrible feeling that this could be yet another Kathleen Kennedy fiasco. We haven't heard anything about Benioff and Weiss being let go by Lucasfilm. No rumours about problems in the development phase of their trilogy. But it seems very, very strange that they have struck this large deal with Netflix at the same time as they are doing a trilogy, supposedly doing a trilogy of films for Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars is such a big IP, but wouldn't their primary focus at this point, you would have thought, be on Star Wars and creating that trilogy, and then after that they can go off and do whatever they want to do. But at the moment you would have thought their primary focus would be on Star Wars, but it seems that their primary focus is actually on what they're going to do for Netflix. And I mean, it says they're going to carry on doing the Star Wars trilogy, but can they really do both? It just seems a bit strange that they would sign this mega deal with Netflix at the time when you would think their focus and priority would be on Star Wars. Now, the last we heard about this trilogy from Benioff and Weiss is that they was going into story development phases with Kathleen Kennedy and also with Rian Johnson. Now, we didn't know whether what the connection was going to be with Rian Johnson. It says in the piece that Rian Johnson is doing a separate trilogy to the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, but from what we heard from Kathleen Kennedy around the time of Star Wars Celebration, it sounded a little bit as though the two projects were being merged. So I'm wondering whether maybe they tried to merge the Benioff and Weiss trilogy with the Rian Johnson trilogy, and something has gone wrong within the development phase that is going to see Benioff and Weiss walk away. And maybe Rian Johnson is going to carry on doing a trilogy of films and we will never get the Benioff and Weiss trilogy. I don't know what's happening, but it seems very, very odd that they would sign this huge deal with Netflix at a time when you would have thought their whole creative sort of juices would be very much into developing this Star Wars trilogy that they are going to do. I mean, Star Wars is such a large sort of all-encompassing project that you wouldn't think they would have time really to sign a huge deal with Netflix and start developing projects for them while at the same time developing Star Wars. We know that Kathleen Kennedy has had many problems with her creative consultants, if you like. So there have been people fired. We know that at the very least she's lost Colin Trevorrow, who's going to do episode 9. There was also the situation with the people whose name I can't quite remember at the moment, who were fired from Han Solo, a Star Wars story, when around 80% of the film had been shot, and then she brought in Ron Howard to completely overdo that. There have been writers that have been let go along the process. You know, there have been a lot of production problems with nearly all of Kathleen Kennedy's projects. The only one that's run completely smoothly was, of course, The Last Jedi. The one that the fans hated the most was the one that actually run very smoothly. She appeared not to have any problems whatsoever with Rian Johnson. But other than that, the history of these films that have been produced by Disney and by Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm have been littered with all sorts of problems, personal issues, people being fired, people leaving. Even George Lucas said, "I've had enough," and left the whole thing when they was developing episode 7, what became The Force Awakens. So, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of problems since Kathleen Kennedy has been running Lucasfilm. I'm just wondering whether this is an indication that we have got yet another Kathleen Kennedy disaster developing for Star Wars. I mean, they've made so much about Benioff and Weiss producing this trilogy, that if the thing has fallen through, that surely will have to be the end of Kathleen Kennedy. If this isn't happening, the Star Wars trilogy with Benioff and Weiss, after so much publicity and, you know, really going to town about what they're going to do for Star Wars after Rise of Skywalker, if that has all fallen through. I'm not saying it has at all. This is all just speculation at the moment. So I'm not at all saying that it has fallen through. But it just seems so strange, really, that they have done this huge deal with Netflix when you would think their focus would be on Star Wars. If they have walked away from Star Wars and we're not going to get the Benioff and Weiss trilogy after all, I think that will be the end of Kathleen Kennedy. I can't see how she will survive as the head of Lucasfilm if the Benioff and Weiss trilogy has proven to be yet another of her production disasters and yet another fiasco is about to unfold for Star Wars. So it's going to be very interesting what we hear about the Benioff and Weiss Star Wars trilogy, I think, over the next few weeks. I'm sure if it has fallen through, we will hear quite soon that they're not going to be doing that. So we shall see what's happening. But again, anything is possible with Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm. Anything, we know that anything could happen. It's a saga and it's an IP that is being left sort of hanging in the wing. There's no real leadership going on that anybody can ascertain. The sequel trilogy is just one disaster after another creatively. Financially, as I always accept, financially, the sequel trilogy is successful, but creatively, it is a train wreck. And there have been so many other problems with Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm that you just wonder whether this is yet another disaster that is about to unfold for Star Wars. So we shall see. Hopefully we'll get some confirmation very soon, one way or another. I think Benioff and Weiss will have to say something themselves about what their intentions are with Netflix versus Star Wars. I think they will be asked, whenever they're making any public appearances, I think they will be asked what's going on. So I reckon we'll hear something pretty soon, one way or another. Right, if you enjoyed this Star Wars video, then please like, share and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think. Is this another Kathleen Kennedy disaster unfolding? Let me know what you think. We'll be back with new Star Wars content very soon. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.